Hey, for this week's weekly wash, coming to you from the beach here at Hale, a little bit more rough and ready because I'm doing a test day, back-to-backing a bunch of wings, trying out the new Frigate. For this episode, I thought I'd focus the episode on testing kit, or testing wings in particular. I'm a lucky boy, I get the opportunity to test a bunch of different stuff out, and I get a lot of people asking what the difference is between them. Sometimes when you only got half an hour or an hour opportunity to try something, it can be hard to sometimes tell the difference. So there's sort of a few bits of advice I was going to give this week on feelings, things you can do to when you're testing some piece of kit to find out if it's the right one for you. So I'm going to have a little bit of a chat about the different wings and some advice on doing that. First of all, though, the Frigate. I'm excited to get my hands on one of these. Been getting a lot of questions from people. Should I go for the pocket rocket or should I go for the Frigate? F-One brought out the Frigate late. They've kind of arrived at the party late. A lot of people wondering what it's going to be like. They've come to the party late, but they've come with a bit of a bang because this thing is really good. It's really fun to ride. I've only had a little opportunity to try it now. Wind was a bit low, so I was on the bottom end of things. Only first impressions, but first impressions is that it's really nimble, it's really lively, it packs away really easy, deploys incredibly well. It's a well put together piece of kit that's very stable in the air. It doesn't feel like it sort of falters like a lot of other wings which maybe were released pretty early. The bar's well thought out. It all comes out the bag ready to roll. So big thumbs up for the Frigate for now, and excited to spend some more time to test its high end, find a bit more about its low end, how well it goes upwind. Yeah, more on that another time. For a test day, trying out a bunch of different wings. Today I'm back-to-backing the Swing V5, the Strike V5 in the standard version, the new XPS MK2, and the Flux V2 in the standard version. So a bunch of different gear. I think first bit of advice when you're going to demo something and you're going to try something new and you're deciding if a new piece of kit is for you, is to always bear in mind that when you change something, try and just change one thing at a time, because if you change lots of different things, it's really hard to know which is the one that's making the big difference. Also try and take bits of kit which you're comfortable on. So my gear of choice today, I was on a wing focus demo, my gear of choice was an Apple Slice V3, an 80 litre size. I knew I could get going easy, touchdowns easy, really forgiving board with an Armstrong setup. The 990 stacks the bottom end, but it can handle its top end, super playful, so could throw that around. That was a staple with the new Surf 130. So ultimately took something which is bigger than I'd normally use, because it would give me the opportunity to push riding and have the confidence that if it's crap conditions, I can get up and going easily, I can recover something if I've made a mistake. So try and choose a piece of kit which is going to make it easy for you to push. Because then, kind of first bit of advice when you're trying something is, we can all just grab a piece of kit and go out and have a session on it, but then at the end of the session, what have you really achieved other than you had a good session or a bad? Was it the conditions? Was it your mood which you're in? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to find out what's good and what's bad about that piece of equipment. So to do that, the best kind of mindset which I always go into it is thinking you're going to try and find its limits. Its upper limits in one thing and its lower limits in another thing. And if you can find its limits, then you'll find its falter points. And when you know its falter points, you can start to decide if this is for you. Because if you're somebody that likes to go really fast, but something doesn't like going fast because it flexes, that's going to write that one off. Whereas if you're somebody that wants something really nimble, you're not going to go something which is a lot more locked in and feel. So go out on the water with a mindset of trying to push its limits. So what I've got here is 4 very different wings. They've all got a different place, and they're all said in openly in their marketing to be aimed at somebody totally different. And I'll talk a little bit individually about them later on. Keep meaning to put together some reviews, and I'll do some reviews coming out soon of an in-depth look at each of them. But when you hit the water and you get going, first thing which you're going to want to do is test its bottom end, see how easy it is to get going. So there's 2 elements to that to me. There's the sheet and go. There's sheeting it in and seeing how much apparent wind and raw power it creates, but then there's how much you can pump it. Every wing's slightly different. You can pump them all a little bit differently. So really pump it, really feel the nuances of the different wings. Some pump more from the front arm, some pump more from the back arm. Feel and try and adjust your technique to feel where you're getting most energy out of the wing, so you know what it does. Look at how the wing behaves when you're pumping. Some wings really flex and bellow out, whereas some wings really give you a raw pullback. If you're the kind of person which is going to want to get going in really light winds or really drive to get up and going, you're going to want to choose one of the stiffer ones. And if you've got a wing which is flexing, it's probably not going to be for you. Then when you pick up your speed and you get going and you're foiling along, a few other things you're going to want to try, but the opposite end of getting going, you want to find out how that wing behaves at its top end. So try and push yourself all the way up to as fast as you can on your setup and drive to your limits of speed. Feel how that wing feels at its top end, and you'll notice that some wings will start to luff out when you hit a top end speed and they start to almost push back into you. So feel how it feels, feel what that wing's doing when it behaves, how it behaves for you. Feel as you're going along at its top speed, how balanced your hands are. So some wings will pull more through the front arm, some wings will pull more through the back arm. That's a preference thing, and as a general rule of thumb, people that wave ride and a wing that's designed for wave riding is going to pull a little bit more off the front arm, because that's going to help it stay stable when you're luffing it out. Whereas a wing that's more focused on racing is going to pull a little bit more evenly off from the back arm, because that's going to make it easier to sheet in and find that power to pop yourself out of a turn or to drive upwind or keep it behaving when you're going downwind. So feel how the balance feels, feel where you can feel it, and you can loosen your grip on your hands on the front arm and the back arm and both arms to feel how it's feeling and how it's pulling you. You'll notice where you've got your hand placement on the handles, and particularly on a lot of modern wings, they've got longer handles so you can adjust your position and find that central balance point and see where you are on the wing, because that will help you understand, you know, how it's balanced and how it feels for you. Shake it. So if you've got your wing, and I'm going to put this camera down and start to demonstrate a little bit more. And hopefully that stays. So if we've got our wing, and here I've got the swing, V5, and we're holding on to it. So as you're going along, twist the wing up and down, see how it behaves. Now you'll notice some wings will drop down in their tips. Some wings will fly a little bit more happy to the top. So feel how it behaves. Feel if you do nothing where it naturally wants to fall down to. Feel as you sheet it in and out how it behaves. So again, some wings will try and fall forwards. Some wings might stall back quite easily. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to find its falter points when you're going out there. When you're then decided you're going to go for a turn, see how that wing behaves through the turn. So you've got your tacks and your jibes. As you're jibing down, in a dream scenario, we're wanting a wing that stays balanced and drifts. So try and take that glide downwind as slow as you feel comfortable to see how the wing behaves through the turn. Let it glide down, let it drift, see how it goes limp, see how it drops into the water, see if it floats itself back up. As you push through a tack, see how early or see how late you can push that wing over to see how it behaves. You'll notice again, some wings push down into you, some wings hold up above you. So feel those moments of kind of tension and difficulty to see how the wing behaves. If wave riding is important for you, you're going to want to test how well it luffs out. So getting hold of the wing, putting the wing down and seeing how it behaves. As a general rule of thumb, a wave riding wing will generally be softer and it will flatten so that it trails behind you a little bit easier. But what you want to do once you've laid it down is carve towards the wing and away from the wing and see how it behaves. Quite often race wings will feel like they're getting in the way all of the time, whereas a wave riding wing will naturally sit behind you a little bit easier. So see how it trails, pick it up, once you've grabbed it, see how it pulls power in. As a wave rider, you're probably going to want to know that you can pull power back very quickly. So after you've spat out of the shoulder of a wave, you've got it there on tap, and even if you're shooting straight at it, you can find that power straight away. Hence why the front arm tension is really beneficial when you're wave riding, because you can find that power straight away with that first arm. So to recap, you basically want to look for all of the problems that you can find in the wing so that you can start to narrow down whether it's the right one for you. So back to back in these wings, I get lucky enough to look at 4 different wings here. And I will have a review coming out on them. Just to rattle through what I found with the Swing V5 here. I guess the F1s together to compare is the Strike and the Swing have always been quite similar wings. There's not been huge differences between the two of them. The Swing's always been a little bit softer and intermediate or beginner and wave focused, whereas the Strike's been a little bit more freestyle and performance focused. A lot of wave riders have always chosen the Strike though because it's a bit stiffer and it's a bit more lively. In these new V5s, they're stretching them further apart from each other, and I definitely notice there's quite a lot of differences. So the Strike is a lot stiffer than the Swing, and it's a lot more twitchy. So as you sheet it in and out, it goes from tense to luffing a lot quicker than the previous models. And as you roll it and you point it high and you point it low, it's very twitchy in how it behaves, which lends itself to being very maneuverable, very fast, very playful, very quick through the turn, very snappy, and it's a really exciting wing to ride, which is the Strike. Whereas the Swing, they've really softened it. And whereas in the past they've talked about having a really good bottom end, sometimes I've found that it was maybe quite flexible, so whilst it did have quite a raw bottom end, you couldn't create power out of it because it would flex. They've chunked up this leading edge to add some stiffness to it and filled out the belly of the wing, so that now it really does have a better bottom end, I'd say, than the Strike. It gets going. As you take it to its top end, it flexes, it's got lots of compromise. As you push it through a turn, it's a bit more draggy, but when you flatten it and you push it behind you, when you glide, it's phenomenal at how well it just trails behind you. So they've sort of stretched them apart from each other, and if you're a wave rider, big standout on the Swing. If you're a free rider, the Strike has always been a go-to, and it's even more exciting to ride. XPS, the Mark II. First notable change, they changed the handles. They were a bit Marmite before, different people liking them or not liking them. So they've gone for a more rounded handle, feels really rigid, really stiff, big fan of those. The canopy's tight all the way through, so there's a little bit of flapping at the back of the previous version, and now it feels tight. Straight away, it's an XPS, it doesn't feel dramatically different, but as you spend a bit of time on it, I feel that it feels a bit more boxy, and it feels a bit more twitchy and a bit more lively, and it's a little bit more exciting to ride. So as you're throwing it around turns, and as you're training it behind you, and as you're kind of going upwind and downwind, this thing doesn't always park itself quite as well as, let's say, some of the other wings. But if you want it to move, this thing's super, super exciting to ride. It slices through turns as well as it ever has, even better than it ever has. This is a really exciting wing to use that's clearly focused on wave riding again, but this year, much more rigid and much more direct. So that's a winner, loving that. Where's the Flux? Whoopa. So the Flux, this is a different wing, quite different from all of the other ones in the the Flux V1 kind of came out quite a long time ago, was focused as a free racing wing. It was one of those first race generation wings before they've now got really dedicated, very performance driven race ones. The V2 is kind of taken that race heritage but turned more into a free race or a free ride wing, and when you jump on this, it feels very different from these other wings in that it's not so maneuverable, it's not so lively, but that's not what it's designed for. And what this is really good at is locking in a position, and it's very stable on its up and down, it's very stable on its sheeting, it's a little bit more heavy on the backhand, so you can find that power really, really easy. And when you're blasting along, you feel like you're locked against the sail, so it's really fun to be able to just hack along, and it slices through turns incredible, and as you come out of it, it's really confidence inspiring that you can just grab the back end of it and accelerate straight on through. So this is an absolute classic free ride or free race wing, which feels less focused on wave riding than some of the other ones I've just talked about. But if you're somebody that wants to race your mates, carve around and just have fun with the flatter water, that's where the Flux is going to stand out. So big noticeable differences between all of them. And ultimately a bit of time on them, pushing them to their limits and finding out where they excel and where they're not so good allows you to start to figure out if it's the right wing for you. Always the best thing to do if you're going to want to buy some kit, they're not cheap, is try and demo some stuff. Hit up your local shop, or even better, give us a shout. We've always got all the latest stuff on demo, so you can give it a shot before you commit to getting out and buying your own one. Any questions on any of the gear, try and keep my finger on the pulse on what's going on, what the latest stuff is. So give us a shout. I'm Chris, and we're Poseidon-watersports.com.